Hi there, I'm Pete Hammond, and with Deadline's chief film critic and awards columnist, and I'm here with Half Hour With today, and what a half hour with. Very excited here, all revolving around the film Fatale, which has been doing great since it opened, and we have, I have to say, two of the key people behind this film. You can't get any more key than this. First off, we have its director and producer, and it's done many films in the past, and this being his latest, and that would be Deon Taylor. Hi, how are you?
Pete, how are you, man? Thank you for having me, man.
Good, good. Everything's good. And you have brought along here today your cinematographer, director of photography, however you want to put him, a legend in the business. So many credits, I can't even begin to list them all, but some of them are LA Confidential, X-Men, The Last Stand, The Insider, Beaches, Nell, The Mirror Has Two Faces, so many others, including many with you, Deon, and your films in the past, Black and Blue and Traffic, and we'll talk about that relationship that you have here cinematically as well. And this is Dante Spinotti. Hi.
Hi, thank you. I'm honored.
It's an honor for us here at Half Hour With to have you here. Been a long time admirer of what you've done, and I thought what you did with this film was just incredible. We'll talk about that, but first off, I want to give people an example of what you guys did with this movie. We have a clip we're going to show. It's set here on the beach, and I'll let you take a look at that right now. So here is Fatale.
Just a little further. You been here before?
No. Is there a reason why I should have?
Here, use this. It's the fourth house. To the left, check out the big room at the top. On the right, just off the balcony.
What am I looking for here?
Keep watching.
It's my business partner.
I know.
What the fuck?
The house is a rental property your wife handles.
How long?
Don't know.
Followed my wife.
That's why I was at your house the other day. I knew something was wrong. So I decided to see what she does with her day.
Fuck!
Don't go back there.
All right, look, you had your fun. Leave me alone.
If you haven't seen the film, I don't want to give too many spoilers, but that scene is sort of self-explanatory. Hilary Swank, obviously, is playing a detective who is taking him out there to show him an apartment out at the beach and show him who's in it, including his wife and his business partner. Whoa. And you can see his reaction there as this movie just twists and turns and twists and turns all throughout. Deon, let me just start with you. What inspired Fatale? A lot of people are going to point to Fatal Attraction, even within the title of this. Were you going for sort of a feel like that with a twist, with a change up?
Yeah, obviously, man, you know, if you know me, you know, I'm a giant fan of, you know, classic, you know, what I like to call old school thrillers. And, you know, those films that, you know, Adrian Lyne created, and, you know, you go back to Basic Instinct, Fatal Attraction, even as recent as Gone Girl. I just love those movies that keep you guessing. And it's not just on the face. And when we were creating Fatale, that's what I wanted. I wanted a throwback movie that could remind people that you can sit in the theater and still guess. You know what I mean? And not, oh, I know exactly what this is going to be. And I think Hilary Swank and Michael Ealy were so great, man. That scene alone, like every time I see that scene, I melt, because I'm like, oh my god, as if I don't know what's going to happen. I'm like, that's every man's worst nightmare. It's like, what? It just happened, but I love it.
That is, yeah, that is so cool. Yeah. The film is written by David Lowery,
Yes.
right? And so how do you collaborate in creating this picture? How did it come to you?
So I so I love David. We worked together on The Intruder a few years ago with Dennis Quaid, and I was a fan of his Lakeview Terrace movie that he wrote a while ago, and it was a fun movie that I loved. And when I had this idea, I was actually uh, working at the time on a screenplay, and this idea popped into my head. And I called David one night and said, David, I got an idea for a movie. I'm going to pitch you the whole film, but you got to write it. And he was like, all right, what is it? And I said, a guy goes to Vegas and Vegas follows him home. And he was like, oh, I'm in. And I said, all right, here's what it is. And it was so great, man. He's just a really, really great collaborative person. And obviously, you know, I love working with people. I love collaborating with people. I'm a very team-oriented director, which is, you know, why Dante is here now. Like, I just love the idea that you build something with people. And David really got it. And, you know, obviously he delivered a script, and then I put my Deon Taylor on it, you know what I mean? But outside of that, man, it's just a fun project to put together and even more fun to shoot.
You know, you are a very prolific filmmaker as a producer, as a director. All of these movies, just the collaborations in the last very few years with Dante alone, you're turning them out here. What's driving you here?
I love film, man. I eat it, I drink it, I watch movies all night. I just love directors, I love writers, I love cinematography. So anytime I can get one up, I'm doing it. And obviously, you know, Pete, we're making these movies independently. So a little bit of the drive for me is the fact that it took me 9 years, 8 years to get a movie made. So once we got the ball rolling, it seems like I don't want it to stop, because I remember what it was to, you know, sit empty-handed on the curb and pray to God to one day to have a movie be made. So it's a lot of things that's inside of me that's driving me.
I'm curious as to what started this relationship here with Dante. And, you know, filmmakers and cinematographers throughout the history of movies, there are filmmakers who have a real history with their cinematographer and they bring them back film after film. And you have started that here. So, you know, he has a celebrated career, to say the least. How did
Yeah.
you stumble into this relationship here with him?
It's the most incredible story of all time, and I'm happy to tell you. You know, obviously, for any filmmaker to get to work with someone that they are a fan of is absolutely a blessing. You sometimes you say, "Oh man, I love that actor," or "I love that, you know, that person," or whatever, that director, that producer. For me, I had an obsession with Dante. I loved his movie Heat. I loved Public Enemies. I loved, you know, Last of the Mohicans. I was a fan. So the quick of it all is 5 years ago, I had someone that knew him 20 years ago. This is crazy, Pete. So buckle up, man. This is gonna get crazy. I said, hey, she said, Deon, I said, I would love to have Dante Spinotti for my movie. She said, Deon, I know his email address. Now, this was just a joke. There's no way in the world I could afford Dante, meet Dante, any of that. She had an email from Dante from 20 years ago. Now, listen, this is how old Dante is. He had an Earthlink email. And I said, Earthlink, right? So I emailed this email, wrote this long letter, and that's just the type of person I am. I'm like, I'm gonna just put it into the universe and pray to God, maybe he gets it. I emailed him a note. 3 days later, Dante emailed me back. Now you kidding? This is the real story. Now I'm not anyone. I'm still not anyone. I'm just a filmmaker trying to make it, man. He emails me back and says, this is a beautiful letter. Come to my house and let's have lunch. Wow. I'm getting on the plane like the next day, backpack, I'm trying to make my hair look nice. I'm trying to make my belly go away because I was fat at the time. I'm doing everything I could possibly do so I can make the first impression with Dante. Go to his house, sit down with him, talk to him for 2 hours, lunch, meet his wife. And I'm blown away. I'm asking him about lenses, cameras. So I get ready to leave. And Dante says, hey, you never told me about the movie you're making. And I tell Dante at the time, I said, man, I done came over here to meet you. And you didn't blew my mind with heat and lenses and Michael. I mean, it was just insane to sit down with him. And I told him I was making a little movie about human trafficking, and we had no money. And I ended up pitching the film. And next thing I know, Dante looked at me and said, I'm gonna make that movie with you. The mere fact that my intention was not to go ask him to do a movie, but merely to ask him information on how I could be better. And for me to come out of that with the relationship with him, and for me to now look back and know that I've made 3 movies with him, it's just all about being blessed by God, man. And being truly understanding that sometimes God does touch you and touch other people to make things connect for you to have that dream come true. And ever since I've met Dante, it's been very weird, but we've become very close. We're almost like brothers. We talk once a week maybe. And, even when we're not filming, we're trying to figure out what each other's doing. And we're like remember Bosom Buddies?
Yeah.
Remember that? me and Dante are like bosom buddies, man. Like we just hang out and talk all the time. And it's very interesting, man. But I'm so happy that God put this man in my life. And he gets mad when I tell him this, but he is truly one of the greatest of all time. And every time we talk film, I'm just blessed to know that he could give me some information to be better.
I love it. Has he taught you any Italian in this bosom buddy relationship?
Man, I am Black Italian. That's what they call me. They call me the Italian stallion, baby.
Italian versus black.
I noticed as you were telling your story about Dante, he, in typical cinematographer style, was adjusting his shot, which I
That's
love.
right. That's what he does.
Yeah.
Yes, perfect. Getting the light just right as you did. Dante, give it to me from your end here of this meeting, and you were so welcoming to his letter and things.
Yes, indeed. I mean, it's I invited Deon to lunch, and I think he never really appreciated the Italian food that my wife prepared in such a she's a good cook, and clearly. At least as far as food is concerned, our cultures were kind of slightly different. But I could say about Deon the same thing he said about me. I think I'm lucky that we crossed paths because plus working with Deon is just a blessing. It's such a huge luck because he knows the story very well that he wants to tell, but at the same time he really loves collaboration. And from everybody in the crew, respects everybody in the crew, and also we share a laugh now and then. So I mean, it's a dream way to work because at the same time it favors the best you can give. Creativity. It really goes in that direction, which is where the fun of making movie is to be able to be creative. I don't want to mention names here, but I had experiences in which making a movie was just following very exact storyboards or previews, pre-studied by a lot of people, everything considered. What's great is to go on a movie set, look at the great actors you have. I mean, these great stars are always like fantastic sports champions. It's just a privilege to be with them, and look at their faces and be inspired by all of this, the environment, the faces of the actors. And being able to share this, with the people you work with, So in this, that's why Deon was such a was so great to start working with him, because you know, all this was possible.
Yeah, I look at some of the past filmmaker collaborations you've had. I can mention some great directors like Curtis Hanson and Michael Mann and others you've worked with here. And that's important. I mean, when you do connect with a filmmaker, you are on the same wavelength, and it's a true collaboration, I imagine.
Yeah, that's what's also interesting to say, is that all these three people you mentioned, these three directors, have very different personalities. They have the right to have whichever way they prefer to direct the movie. You have to respect that, you know. In the case of Deon, it's also this unique ability that Deon has to ask for and accept collaborations from everybody is what makes the difference, really.
Does it bring you new challenges? These films that you've done here with Dion, like Traffic. Talk about that first one you did together. That makes him unique in your whole filmography of doing things.
Well, yes. One of the main things is really the fact that you have to dig deep in and concentrate on what you're doing, because you can discuss with Dion any aspect of the scene or the shot you're going to do. So not just about being prepared. Hey, I mean, technically and mechanically, the scene, just like the one we just saw on the beach, is very complex, because you need to shoot it in a limited amount of time, you know, and so you have to really decide what time of the day, what we have to do first, and it's really critical technically. However, it's not just about that. With Deon, it's about bringing in every possible thought you have about the movie, the story. You know, I never approach movies like saying, "Hey, this is a thriller, so let's shoot it like a thriller." No,
Yeah.
it's this makes no sense to me. It's about reading. Oh, this is a horror movie. Let's shoot it like a horror movie. So no, it's about really reading deeply and seriously your screenplay, talking about it with the director, and figuring out what is the best way to do each individual scene, again, and joining the amazing people we have in front of you, especially the movie stars like these two guys we had in this film.
I want to run another clip from the film, and maybe you can talk to us about that and how you approach it just in that kind of individual scene. So let's take a look at another scene from Fatale.
Where's my?
What's wrong?
Can't find my phone.
Oh. It's in the room safe.
What?
I put it in there in case you tried to sneak away.
Okay, well, just give me a combination.
I forgot it.
Seriously? You're kidding, right?
Nope.
Look, I, you know, gotta get to McCarran, so I don't have time to play games. So.
Well, then you shouldn't have come to Vegas.
Yeah, just give me the code, please.
Well, then you'd leave.
Yeah, that's the general idea.
Well, what if I'm not done with you?
What do you mean, not done with me?
And I need more. Come on, Darren from Seattle. Stay and play.
Can you talk about that scene, you guys?
Yeah, it's you know, that's obviously one of the opening scenes of the film, and it's one of the coolest scenes to me, based on the fact that in that brief moment, you understand who both people are. Here's someone who is very forward-thinking, already has our guy in a spider web in multiple ways. She's already woke up in the middle of the night, took his phone, took his wallet. So we have to assume she knows everything about him already. And here is this guy who's very innocent in just thinking he had a one-night stand, but now, you know, things are going to get much deeper and much more complicated. What I love about the film in this scene right here is both characters are flawed. And what I tried my hardest to do is create characters that have problems, characters that are empty at times, because we all are these people. And I thought what made Fatal Attraction so great was, you know, at that time, Michael Douglas was a flawed character. And people was like, there's no way in the world you could like root for him, or he could be redeemable. And I'm like, man, people have problems all the time. Part of what we have to do in life is redeem ourselves, or fight for another chance. So I really love actors and actresses and screenplays that have people put in compromising positions, and you have to actually see your way out of it. And I think this scene here is the beginning of is the beginning of the rabbit hole they're both getting ready to go down.
Yeah. How do you make that visually interesting? You do. I noticed throughout this film, you can take kind of Dante's standard kind of scenes. Here's a scene in a bedroom. He's standing up, she's in the bed. How do you approach that from a cinematography point of view?
We shot the scene not in Vegas, in an hotel in Los Angeles. And of course, now you start figuring out the idea. The idea is that it's probably early, very early morning. Being able to reveal with the camera angle and the lights, reveal the beauty of a person, the inner beauty of a person, without letting elements be distractive, like, you know, unpleasant aesthetic elements. So it's not about doing pretty things on a girl's face, but it's about making sure that her best comes out. And this is what's great about human faces, you know. And I gotta say, let me step into something else here. It's also what's great about photographing black faces, because it's like a Rodin statue. I mean, the light doesn't just light everything, but it's only lit what you're really lighting, and the rest goes dark. So it gives you the possibility of having a much more powerful and three-dimensional kind of image on a face. And yeah, that's part of the great privilege of that.
Wow.
I would just add to that. You know, it's also interesting that, you know, what's taboo for so long was in that scene. What also makes it electric is a black man and a white woman. And, you know, for so many that are not used to seeing that, that's very interesting on screen, even nowadays. And, you know, what we were trying to do with this film, and what I try to do with every movie, I mean, Dennis Quaid, or Frank Grillo, Naomi Harris, whomever it is, I'm trying to make universal pictures as a black filmmaker, meaning that I don't want the movie to be all black. I don't want it to be all white. I want it to look like the world that I live in. And that's very unique for me as a black filmmaker to say that to you. But, you know, Michael Ealy's playing a role of a man who makes a mistake, not a black man that makes a mistake. He's a man, and he's a successful man. And, you know, when I see that scene all the time, immediately, I've watched it in theaters with people, and I've watched it, you know, randomly with other people that have seen the film for the first time. And everyone just kind of goes, and you don't know what that is, but I'll tell you what it is. It's the fact that you're seeing something that for a very long time was taboo. Even if the relationship was flipped, it doesn't matter. It is two different people, two different skin tones on screen. And I think it gives a little bit more of an excitement, like, wow, a little bit more of a rush. So I think that there are buttons you can push as a filmmaker with people just with race alone, you know, because we are so adapt to seeing one type of thing or one type of person. And when you begin to blend and mix, people are kind of excited to see those new worlds.
Yeah, for sure. In the brief time I have left, I want to talk about the visual choices here. You talk about he's a very successful man, and he is indeed. And the surroundings there, and the home he lives in, the cars they drive, are all upscale. But I got to ask you, Dante, have you ever done a car commercial? Because these cars are so beautifully shot. I wanted to go out and buy them right away. I mean, they're gorgeous. The amount of detail you put into a car driving away are something here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I had a long discussion, a long fight before the movie started to convince Deon to get the proper Italian car with the Derek, the protagonist. And I didn't make it. I mean, you know, I didn't do it. I shot a lot of car commercials indeed. And But you know, the thing, the real one of the protagonists, amazing protagonists in this movie, is really the city of Los Angeles. Where else can you organize a shot, which was then organized by our camera operator, Peter Rosenfeld? You know, like the car leaving the house in the morning, or the motorcycle or the car, and you know, you got the whole valley with the lights, which we obviously shot. You can't shoot in the early morning movies; it's usually impossible. But you use the twilight, the evening, as you know, as the evening as early morning. And where else can you get a shot like that? We found a perfect location. You know, this ocean of light in the valley. Car comes up, flares the lens, goes away into Mulholland Drive. Los Angeles is a great city for filmmaking. I mean, you know,
It's great that they've made it easier to shoot in LA too, because I love seeing LA set movies. And here I am talking to the man that shot LA Confidential, for God's sake.
yeah.
I
What
mean,
about? Sorry, what about? Sorry if I step in. What about Heat? Heat, you know, with Pacino and De Niro,
yes,
Michael
Heat
Mann's movie. Yeah,
as well.
but yeah, and
Amazing, amazing.
it's a
Well,
great city that has so many aspects.
I wish this series was called An Hour With, because I could go on and on with you two and talking about it, but it's a half hour with. And I want to thank both of you for joining us today and sharing all of this about your relationship and the movie Fatale, which you got to check out if you haven't seen it yet. We didn't spoil it. There's so many twists in this thing, I couldn't possibly do that. I want to thank the Hidden Empire Film Group today for making this possible as well. And thank you for joining us.
Pete, before we leave, can I say one thing before you
Sure.
cut us off? I want to tell you thank you, man, for this time and this moment to be able to speak to you. Obviously, you know, we are huge fans of you, brother, and all that you do for the film world. But I also want to just say thank you, man, for speaking to myself and Dante, and for everybody out there that might be able to watch this show. Please understand, man, that this man in this box to my right, Dante, is a very special person, arguably one of the greatest of all time. And it's just an incredible story to understand that this man, before inclusion was in, he reached out and allowed me as an independent Black filmmaker to work with him. And this someone who's worked with Michael Mann, made all these great films. And I just think that what he has shown and what he has done is where we're trying to go in entertainment business, which is just reach down and pick someone up and believe in someone. You'll never know what'll happen with them if you just give them a chance. And I want to tell you, thank you for the platform today. And I want to tell you, Dante, I love you. And, you know, I always say this, man, but I'm hoping that everyone really recognizes what you've done and your contribution to film, man, because it is really special. The fact that on the, you know, the top 100 movies, you probably got 3 of those films, and you're living and sitting right here with us. So just want to say we love you, brother. And Pete, thank you so much. We love you gratefully, man. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.